The moment Malis Bryn handed me the dirty mop across the mahogany table that Thanksgiving, I stopped being a mother and became a weapon. "Take this." "Evelyn," she snapped, her voice sugar-coated for the 8 guests watching. "And since you love cleaning so much, scrub that stain, then you can eat the crumbs off the floor like the dog you are." The silence that followed was a physical blow. I could feel the heat rising in my face, but I took the wet, grimy mop from her hand. It was one thing to be treated like a maid in private, but to be publicly humiliated, to be told I was less than a pet. In the house my late husband, Hugh, and I had built, that was the point of no return. My son, Arthur Vance, emerged from the den, his eyes cold and distant. "Mom," he said in a voice that was utterly foreign, "stop using age as an excuse. You eat for free every single day. Please the guests for us." His words, my own son's words, hit harder than any slap. They confirmed the truth I had avoided for 3 years since Hugh's funeral. To them, I wasn't Evelyn Lark, a person worthy of respect. I was a burden, a free servant, a ghost. With trembling hands, I knelt. The soapy, dirty water from the mop mingled with the tears I refused to shed as I scrubbed the precious white linen tablecloth I'd embroidered myself. The humiliation was absolute. When I finished, I stayed kneeling, picking up bread crusts and dirty napkins from the floor, my 67-year-old knees creaking under the weight of their contempt. I was performing for their amusement. "You can go to your room now," Arthur dismissed me. "The adults are going to keep talking." That night, at 3 o'clock, I packed my only suitcase. I left my house keys on the kitchen counter, next to a bill Malis had forgotten to pay. Slipping out the back door into the cold Dallas air, I felt a kind of weightless freedom. I checked into a quiet hotel off Main Street. It wasn't a palace, but it was the first place in years where no one was yelling or demanding anything from me. I looked in the mirror, seeing a woman I barely recognized, gray, weary, an exhausted shadow. When had the transition from cherished wife to unpaid servant happened? It began after Hugh died, Arthur clinging to me, pleading with me not to leave him alone, and Miley's, initially sympathetic, quickly realizing she had a free appliance that cooked, cleaned, and managed the household. I had accepted it because I thought I was helping my grieving son. I had thought it was temporary, but as the tasks piled up, the constant cooking, the demanding cleaning, the expectation of invisibility, I became trapped. They thought I was living off their charity. The next morning, sitting in a small, friendly cafe called Grandma's Kitchen, I felt human again when the waitress simply asked, "What can I get for you, ma'am?" Back in my hotel room, I opened my old laptop, accessing the bank account Robert and I had kept separate. A woman should always have her own financial independence. Hugh had always insisted. The screen glowed with the stark number, $243,822. That was my inheritance, my savings, my pension. But that wasn't the full picture. For the last 3 years, I had been the one making the automatic payments, the $1,800 monthly mortgage, the $400 utilities, the $600 car payment for Arthur's SUV, the $4,000 AC repair, the $8,000 bathroom remodel Milas needed. I had paid for everything. I calculated the total. Over $120,000 spent supporting the life they believed they were financing. They hadn't supported me. I had been subsidizing them. My phone buzzed. A text from Arthur. "Mom, this is ridiculous. Miley's made your favorite dinner. Come home and we'll talk like adults." I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. I replied simply, "I'm fine. I won't be coming back tonight." On Monday morning, I dialed the bank. "Good morning, Patricia. This is Evelyn Lark. I need to make some important changes. Cancel all automatic transfers immediately." Patricia, the bank representative, sounded surprised. All of them. "Mrs. Lark, these transfers, including the mortgage, have been active for 3 years. All of them," I confirmed, my voice rock steady. "The reason is simple. I am no longer going to allow my generosity to be abused. Canceling those transfers felt like pulling a life support plug. It was terrifying and deeply satisfying. I then opened a new savings account at a branch across Dallas and transferred the bulk of my money. Arthur called an hour later. "Mom, you finally answered. Where the heck are you?" "In a safe place." "Arthur, Malis feels terrible about Friday. She says it was a misunderstanding." You know how she gets nervous with guests? A misunderstanding? Your wife told me to clean the floor with a dirty mop and eat crumbs like a dog. You were there. Arthur, you told me I deserved it. Mom, you're exaggerating. Nobody treated you like a dog. Look, maybe we were a little hard on you, but you've also been very difficult lately. Always complaining. Difficult? I shot back. You mean cooking, cleaning, paying the mortgage, paying the utilities, and maintaining the house while you two went out with your friends? That's difficult. Mom, you live in our house for free. You don't pay rent, he insisted, relying on the lie they had both built. For free, I echoed. Arthur, who do you think has been paying the $1,800 monthly mortgage on that house for the last 3 years? Who paid the $4,000 for the AC repair? Who financed the $8,000 bathroom remodel for Miley's? I did. Arthur, directly from my bank account. I have spent over $120,000 maintaining that house and that life you believe you're financing. The line went silent. Mom, that's impossible. You don't have that much money. Your father and I worked for 40 years. Son, we planned. I let you believe I was poor because I thought I was helping you in a difficult time. But in 3 years, you never once asked how I was doing financially. You just assumed I was a burden to be tolerated. An hour ago, I canceled all those automatic transfers. Starting today, you will not receive one more cent from me. His voice became frantic. Mom, you can't do that. We can't lose the house. That is no longer my problem. Find a job that allows you to pay for it. Or sell the expensive things you bought with my money. But we love you, he pleaded. You love me? When was the last time you invited me to sit at your table instead of serving it? When was the last time you asked me how I felt? He had no answer. I ended the call. Later that week, Arthur showed up at the hotel, desperate. Malis followed. Evelyn, I need to apologize. Milas started, tears ready. I was just frustrated. Sometimes I feel like Arthur loves you more than me. Threatened by a 67-year-old woman who only wanted to help her son? I asked calmly. You humiliated me to prove your importance. I'm not coming back. They left defeated. But not before Milas's mask slipped. If you leave, you're destroying our lives. No. Milas, I corrected. Our family was destroyed when you decided to treat me like a servant. I'm just saving myself from the wreckage. The following Sunday, I received a call from Martha Chavez, a social worker. Mrs. Lark, we received an elder welfare referral. Someone reported you might be living in a situation of abandonment. Abandonment, I almost laughed. Mrs. Chavez, I am living comfortably with my cousin in Phoenix, Arizona. I have over $200,000 in my personal bank account. Her tone changed instantly. That is very different from what was reported. Ma'am, they claimed you left home without money, living on the street, refusing help. I realized their strategy. Paint me as incompetent so they could seize control. Mrs. Chavez, for 3 years, I was financially exploited by my son and daughter-in-law. When I stopped financing their life, they reported me as abandoned. I told her I had handled the problem. I left. My final interaction before leaving Dallas was the call from Ethan Hale, a lawyer Arthur had hired to pressure me. Mrs. Lark, cutting off financial support so abruptly is causing serious problems. Your son could lose his house. You have a moral obligation. Mr. Hale, I countered. Did Arthur tell you his wife made me clean the floor with a dirty mop in front of 8 guests and told me to eat crumbs like a dog? Did he tell you I've been paying his mortgage and utilities for 3 years while being treated like an unpaid employee? What is a son's moral obligation to his mother? Mr. Hale, doesn't it include basic respect? There was a long, professional silence. I hung up, knowing I had defeated his strategy. I flew to Phoenix and moved in with my cousin, Vera Reed. The desert air was clean, a symbol of my new start. Vera enrolled me in a painting class and got me a small car. For the first time. All the money I spent was for me. I bought expensive salmon because I wanted it. I slept in until 10 a. 6 months later. Arthur and Melis showed up on Vera's porch in Phoenix. Arthur looked terrible. He had lost weight and the house in Dallas was gone. Mom, we lost the house. Melis left me. Melis stood behind him, looking rough. She came back yesterday, Arthur mumbled. She says if you come back with us, she'll stay too. We can look for a bigger apartment. You have more resources. The truth was naked. They were begging for the money, not the person. Did you come all the way to Phoenix to ask me for money, Arthur? We came to ask you to come home, he insisted weakly. To what home? You lost it. Mom, we can't do this alone. We don't earn enough. Why did you report me to social services as abandoned? Arthur, because you were worried, or because you thought you could gain access to my money? He couldn't meet my eyes. Melis broke in. We need your money. Evelyn, are you happy now? I'm not happy, Melis. I'm sad that my only son sees me only as a source of money, and that is exactly why you are never going to have it. I began closing the door. Wait, we are your family, Arthur yelled. No, Arthur, I replied calmly. You are two adults who never learned to be responsible for your own lives. You needed my money, and I needed my dignity. I am choosing my dignity. I closed the door on them. I had lost my son, but I had regained my entire self. I enrolled in a photography class, bought a new car, and decided that was the difference between living and merely surviving.